Macon, GA David Branch knew that his job, helping people sign up for Obamacare, would be harder this year. But Mr. Branch didn't fully realize the scope of his challenge until a group that he approached with his flyers insisted that the Affordable Care Act had been repealed. They said, "Why are you guys here? Obamacare is done," Mr. Branch recalled Friday as he finished a training session here. In fact, the Affordable Care Act has survived blow after blow since President Trump took office in January, including repeated attempts by Congress to repeal it. But as the fifth open enrollment period starts Wednesday, the law is reeling from continued attacks by Mr. Trump that have sown confusion and anxiety among the roughly 10 million Americans with coverage through its insurance marketplaces and millions more who remain uninsured. Most recently, Mr. Trump announced plans to cut off subsidies that reimburse insurance companies for assistance they are required to provide to low-income customers who struggle with co-payments and deductibles. The cuts resulted in a crazy quilt of premiums for 2018 that differs radically from the pattern of the last 4 years, which will upend expectations of consumers in many states. And the administration's sharp cuts to advertising for the law's open enrollment period and to groups that employ enrollment navigators like Mr. Branch have almost certainly limited public awareness that now is the time to enroll. Those who have heard Mr. Trump's message that insurance premiums are way up may not realize that the subsidies that help low and middle-income Americans pay those premiums will rise as well. The enrollment period for the federal marketplace has been cut in half, to 45 days, with hardly any publicity by federal officials. No one is sure how well government call centers and computer systems will handle the expected surge of applications leading up to the December 15 deadline for people to enroll through healthcare.gov. In Washington and across the nation, supporters of the law are doing what they can to combat misperceptions. Consumers are unclear whether the marketplaces still exist, whether they still have an obligation to get coverage, whether the mandate exists, whether they can get financial assistance, said Kelly Turek, a policy analyst at America's Health Insurance Plans, a trade group. Our message is, come back. The marketplaces are still here. Here in Georgia, what had been the largest navigator group, Insure Georgia, lost 86% of its $2.3 million federal grant and had to lay off half its staff, leaving Mr. Branch and 10 other counselors to provide enrollment assistance for all 159 counties in the state. Humana is leaving the insurance marketplace here, and while 3 other insurers will remain, all but 10 counties will have a single company selling coverage for next year. Rates for popular silver-level benchmark plans are rising by 47% on average here, according to the Department of Health and Human Services, although most customers will qualify for subsidies that will grow by a similar amount. The department found that premiums for benchmark plans are increasing by 37% nationwide, compared with 24% last year.